It's October 14th, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It's time for The Roots, a journey of self-discovery. Today's personalities are
マッキーと
メハルと
Tuba Kachin Ebing.
and little me, Mike. We hope that you will enjoy our program. This show is our way of comparing the world cultures and Okinawan cultures. By comparing these cultures and also discussing world news, we hope to show you the significance of our roots. We upload the program to a Ustream channel, FM Nirai, so that you can watch anytime you like. We also post a link to the show on the Okinawa Hands-On Facebook page. We are broadcasting live from the Shatan Nirai Center. We are also supported by the FM Nirai and the Okinawa Hands-On NPO.
皆さんこんにちは。ザ・ルーツは現在地球上で起こっているさまざまな出来事、また今に伝わる神話や民話伝説など地球上に存在する神羅万象のルーツをたどる番組です。どんなルーツにたどり着くのかお楽しみに。インターネットを使える環境の方は FM ニライユーストリームと検索するとユーストリーム放送がライブで見られます。ザ・ルーツはキャッシュバック一番店、有限会社ケイテル沖縄のソフトバンクネーブル嘉手納店中野町店、有限会社丸内重機、寿司海産物石松、花に跡がつきません、世界初どこでも浮くメガネ&サングラスならメガネ21ハイバル店、自分らしく生きる空間ユーロ老人ホームニヘデホーム、有限会社ニヘーデービル、有限会社平伝説、誠実な施工で奉仕する崎原土建株式会社、小橋内科クリニック、塚山建築設計事務所、au ショップネーブル嘉手納店北谷美浜店、学校法人知性会琉球リハビリテーション、目のトラブルに関することなら歩み眼科、アーリーラーナーズインターナショナルスクールエリス、トイレ空調水回りのことなら有限会社万代設備の提供、そして FM ニライと沖縄ハンズオン NPO の協力で今日もチャタンニライセンター内 FM ニライより生放送でお送りしています。皆様どうぞ最後までお付き合いください。
We're waiting for your messages, music requests, and questions. Please send us an email at fm792@fm-nirai.jp. That's fm792 at symbol fm-nirai.jp, all lowercase letters. Please don't forget to give us and put our name, The Roots, and your radio name. Thank you.
皆様からこの番組に対するメッセージや曲のリクエスト、そして番組に関する質問もどしどしお待ちしています。メールアドレスはすべて小文字で fm792@fm-nirai.jp fm792@fm-nirai.jp いずれも番組名ザ・ルーツとお書き添えください。ラジオネームも忘れずに。はい。皆さんこんにちは。はい、How are you today? お元気ですか？
Oh, doing okay. It was a busy week. Busy weekend.
忙しかったんですね。気温も徐々に下がりつつ、夕方は涼しくなっている今日この頃です。はい。ちょっと告知をさせていただきたいと思います。ですね。じゃあ番長愛さんからやろうかな。
Yes, Banjo Eyes. About 3 more weeks.
はい。11月のこのザ・ルーツのですね、11月の初めの水曜日番組ですね、11月4日にですね、ゲスト出演予定の番長愛さん。これはブルーグラスミュージック。
Bluegrass, country music, Okinawa music.
と沖縄ミュージックをミックスした。
Yeah.
はい。南城市のですね、佐敷出身のシンガーソングライターの番長愛さんがお越しいただきます。そのそれ告知でですね、そのゲスト出演なんですけれども、ファーストコンサートね、初めての。
This is her first major concert as a soloist she'll have a band up backup. But she's performed in Nevada, Las Vegas. She's played San Francisco. Played for the 33rd annual ACE Hawaiian Festival, as well as mainland Japan and locally here. Every Tuesday she plays at the Laguna Garden. Tuesday nights, traditional music, Okinawa music, and Tahitian Hawaiian music. Her family is quite into the Tahitian music.
アメリカでもちょっと演奏してたり、ハワイでしてたり、そして日本の方でもね、本土の方でやったりとか、こちらラグナーガーデンの方でも演奏したりして活躍をしている方です。で、来月のですね11月6日の金曜日、ね、November 6th Friday に
Friday night, yes.
はい、浦添市の手だこホールの小ホールの方で、会場6時半、開演7時でコンサートが行われるということですね。こちら前売り券が1500円ですね。で当日券が1900円となっておりまして、沖縄半蔵 NPO の北谷オフィスの方でも二来センター2階ですね。でもチケットを販売しております。そしてまたファミリーマート。Is it all family mart?
All family mart. The kiosk is set up to buy the tickets there. And Banjo Eyes Jim Rock has an online website. If you click on her website, there's a link and you can buy tickets online. So that's up and running. So you have three different opportunities to buy the tickets before you get to the door.
Okay. はい。
This is her second album, Love My Love. She's actually had first album, so this is her second album that she'll be performing. Okay.
アルバムは2枚。
Please come on out.
はいはい。いいですか。もう何回もカットインされてしまいましたけど。はい。チケットをちょっとお求めしたい方はですね、ハンズオンですとか、またファミリーマートどこの店舗でも大丈夫だそうです。そしてオンライン、バンジョーアイさんで検索するとホームページがありますので、そこで購入も可能だということです。じゃまたねwe're not going to talk about a lot of her because she's going to be a guest だからね。今はね情報あまり言わない。
That's more in the future, yes.
はい。そしてもう一つですね。
Yes.
こちらですね。認知症行方不明者救済サポート、カナムイカラハイカラカラネットシンポジウムが行われます。こちら私たちハンズオンで、主催で行うシンポジウムとなっております。沖縄県内認知症行方不明者数はですね、2014年の時点で94名、もすごい数ですけども94名、で沖縄県内の認知症の患者さんの数が46,015名ということで、これ2014年の時点ですのでもう今2015年数がちょっと変わっているのかなと思います。これだけ本当に身近に起こっているこの現状ですね。まずはそれをまずは皆さんで話し合いながら、予防ですね。お家に帰り方が分からなくなってしまうので、いなくなってしまう前の予防に対してどのようにした方がいいのかとか、またこの認知症行方不明者の方たちの今この現実ですね、現実と予防対策についての、授業テーマにおいてシンポジウムを行いたいと思います。こちら場所が沖縄市産業交流センターですね。パヤオのところですね。合わせパヤオのところ、
入り口
側ですね。こちら11月8日の日曜日に行います。1時半から3時半で、そのシンポジウムの後はまた11月23日の月曜日にですね、ちょうど高級日に当たってますが、KYT 模擬訓練ということで、実際にですねもし認知症でいなくなってしまったっていうことを予測して捜索活動ですね、捜索をどのようにしていこうかということで訓練を行う予定です。こちらも集合場所は 同じ沖縄市産業交流センターで集合するという形になります。両日ですね、こちらは参加費は無料となっております。ただし予約制になってまして、事前にご連絡ください。電話またはメールにて大丈夫です。はい、電話番号を申し上げます。098-936-6868 936-6868です。こちら沖縄半蔵 NPO で検索しますとホームページまたは Facebook でも載っていますので、そちらの方からお問い合わせもお願いいたします。
Yeah, for our listening audience, we're going to host a dementia symposium on the 8th of November. We have quite a few people that have been missing for quite a few years, and it affects not only Okinawan people, but across the spectrum, across the world. And if you would like to volunteer your services to come out to talk about your specialty within this particular area, please contact me or contact Okinawa Hands-On page. It's a very important subject.
はい、ありがとうございます。何か他はないですか？大丈夫ですか？次に進みますね。はい、じゃあ今日、today's topic。
Time for a beer.
ちょっとね、ひよとくんはちょっとまだだけどね。
そうですね。
Yeah, last week we talked about Alamori, but we also have another famous, very popular drink here on Okinawa, which is Orion beer, which is the king of beers for Okinawa, as you might say, and Budweiser, which is the king of beers for America. So,
ちょっと待ってよ。はい。これは先週は青森の歴史についてあったんですよね。今日初めて聞く方もいると思うんで、この流れは宮部さん。
はい。先週はこの泡盛の話からで、戦後泡盛ので大切なこの黒麹菌を元瓦礫の中から酒造所壊された酒造所の中からこの黒麹菌を見つけて泡盛を再復興させた、随泉酒造の坂本さんのお話をメインにしていきました。
あ、なるほど。その流れで、じゃあオリオンビールのはい、とまたアメリカではバドワイザーですね、のちょっと歴史についてねちょっと話をしてみましょうということですね。OK、 じゃあ最初の今日はLet's play music first ね。
okay.
はい。
So we're going with the Budweiser commercial with the dog, or are we going to? Okay. Animals are an important part of everyone's life, and Budweiser commercials also include animals that people like, the Clydesdale horses, and of course a little story about a dog that had a familiar love for a particular horse. Let's listen.
はい。じゃあこれはこれはバドワイザーのコマーシャルで、
Budweiser commercial.
コマーシャルの曲、ソング。OK。じゃあ聞いてみましょう。
はい、お願いします。
Well, there you have it. Dog's love for a horse, and he would travel a long distance to find out where his friend was at, as well as did his master. Okay,
さて
now I think I'm ready for a beer. I'm hot. Traveling so far. Okay. When one thinks of beer, we usually think of the European countries being the foremost makers of that cool taster brew that is so fresh, refreshing on the hot summer days. For others that partake in drinking some of the suds, many of those have nicknames for their beers. Would you be surprised that out of the top 13 countries, that Japan is ranked 6th behind Denmark, and America is ranked 2nd behind Belgium? That's quite an accomplishment, to say the least.
So
Number one だよ。
number one はじゃあベル
Belgium,
ジェム
Belgium,
ああそうな
which
んだ
goes
ね
back to the European market.
やっぱヨーロッパが
Europa.
ね
Mhm.
ね日本は6位なんですね消費量
So they're basically above 50% within the market, so out of the 13, behind Denmark, another European country. So they're good standings. Though the age of brewing goes far back into time, the Edo period for Japan, and one of the oldest beverages humans have produced, dating back to Neolithic European, 7,000 years before Christ's evolution in Greece.
ね7,000
Years before
before
Christ.
the Christ
Before Chris?
新石器時代そんな昔からあるんだね
Almost 10,000 years. Right?
誰が最初につけたんだろう日本は江戸
江
江戸時代
Edo period, 1603 to 1868 was the Edo period.
すごいマーティンさん年代まで覚えてる
Okay.
Mm.
However, today we're going to focus on discussion on Orion, the favorite drink of the people of Okinawa. Budweiser, the king of beers for most Americans, though there are many others to speak of in America.
じゃあ今日は沖縄なので
うん。
もちろんオリオンなんですけど
うん
オリオンは本社は浦添なんですよね、
うん
で工場が名護の方ですよね、
Okay.
はいはい
You can't go far on Okinawa without bumping into Orion lanterns, Orion festivals, Orion shirts, and of course the Orion beer, pronounced Orion, which is uniquely tied to the Okinawa. It's tied to Okinawa. Orion beer commands a majority share of the beer consumed on Okinawa, while on the mainland it's a distant fifth to the larger beer companies. 90% of Orion beer never leaves the island. It's consumed right here.
じゃあ 90% は 90% はもう沖縄で残り 10% だけが外に県外に出てるんだね、
It does make it to America, but basically it's right here. Orion breweries, litigated Orion Biru, Kabushiki Gaisha, is the 5th largest brewery in Japan. It's headquartered in Urusoi, Okinawa Prefecture. The company commands approximately 1% of the Japanese market. I think that's a little low now, but the stats on that was probably 10 years old. However, it controls over 50% of the beer market on Okinawa. There's only one full-size Orion brewery on Okinawa, and its breweries turns out 72 million liters of fresh beer each year to please the drinking taste of Okinawan drinkers. It has a crisp, refreshing feel and mild taste, which uses the fresh water that comes from a spring behind its factory, which is very convenient. You don't have to transport the water.
あじゃあお水はこの名護の
そうそうそう
そのまま
湧き水。
湧き水だからなんか
湧き水は
名護の水名護の
それはさ
メジャーって言われてるって言ってたよ
The alcohol content is 5%, which is kind of low, but it's okay. You don't get drunk too fast. It's used to create this beer as It's used to create beer that comes from Hollenthaler hops from Germany, and the malt is carefully selected from the highest quality European and Austrian varieties and mixed with its own special Okinawan ingredients. It's trade secrets which nobody knows about. Founded in 1957 in Nago, Okinawa during the American occupation, Orion began making beer in 1959. So it's not been around too long. It's younger than me.
そうなの？
I was born in 1948.
1959年に
50
Orion struggled to compete with the other major breweries, but after changing from a German-style beer to American-style beer, it gained top share in the Okinawa market. Orion became the most widely consumed beer in Okinawa, and the popularity took off as the brew became a more American-style beer. But until 2002, it had a market that was limited to mostly Okinawa. Since 2002, Orion has worked together with Asahi Breweries to manufacture Asahi beers in Okinawa in return for Asahi's assistance in selling Orion beer outside of Okinawa.
アサヒビールがこのオリオンビール工場と提携結んで初めてこのまた県外に輸出が増えたっていうこともなんか上がってこの2003年から6年この過去6年間で2倍以上のこの内地での売り上げが上がったっていう話がされてました。であとは何だったかな、この名護は水がきれいだったからそこでまず始めようっていうことで、でこのオリオンビールっていう名前も沖縄県民はじめみんなにこの、名前を募集して当時決めたみたいな話がありました。
英語ではオライオンってね。
Orion. Yes, Orion beer. That's what we used to get.
オライオンよね。
オライオン。
Yeah.
オリオン座。
When I first
そっかそっか。
when I came to Okinawa in 1970, we didn't call it Orion, we called it Orion beer,
オライオン。
でも
which is a star in the sky,
right.
Orion.
でも
So
最初はあれとジャーメンとかハレートホップスでしょ。ホップス from Germany でしょ。
yes,
They use first.
fresh
And then
hop.
they changed American styles.
They changed to American style because they became a lighter beer, something similar to Budweiser beer, the light yellow flavored beer.
なんかあれって言ってましたよ。オリオンビール最初はこのドイツ風のこのドイツスタイルのビールだったんですけど、なかなか売り上げが伸びなかったので、それでこの気候暑いところじゃないですか沖縄。だからアメリカ風のこのビールのスタイルに変えたらどんどん
飲みやすいから
飲みやすくなって
ね
売れるようになったっていうのが
あるよね。
歴史でありました。
Yeah, your German beers, European beers were more of a thicker lager style beer, but they changed over to the American style beer.
ヒロト
ヒロト
は地理の勉強して
A
る
couple
から
more years, huh?
勉強だね。
You're 18 now.
ビールの勉強をしたら地理が分かるようになるんじゃな
Do you drink beer?
い飲みながら
ささやきが聞こえました
Don't tell your mommy.
そうですね。ビールはやっぱり今あったようにヨーロッパ、このやっぱり原料がこの何ですか麦とか、
ね
そうですね。
ポップとかね
取れるからポップとか、ああいうのは
ネットで調べたら4000年前のメソポタミアで女性が大麦がさね、ほったらかしてたからさ数年間でそれが発酵してビールなんて飲んだら美味しいと思って結局女性が発見したみたいよビールはよ
4,000 years ago at the Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia?
There's
Yes.
a lady, woman.
Mhm.
She left the なんて言ったっけmalt.
Yes.
And then
Became a beer.
yes,
Became a beer.
she found
Yes.
beer.
The husband scolded him unnecessarily because he became interested in drinking the malt. Yeah.
うん
By accident, it became something to drink. Yeah. Yes.
ハンブラビ法典にも書かれてる。だから、ハンブラビスコールですよね。だんだんやっぱ起こるっていうことは、女性たちがもうこれに夢中になって。ハンブラビ法典にも書かれてるって。
すごい
女はね、アルコール飲むなって。
へ
今、またそれだと。そういうことね。
Question?
うん。
すごい
だから、戦隊の牛には書くんだよ。ね。エントランスエグザミネーションね。He takes the geography.
Yes, geography is important.
Yeah.
Yes.
ビールで覚える世界地理。
おお
いいんじゃない
教科書ができそうな
そうだよね。
I left plenty of links so you could study the links of the different beers of the world. So after Orion made an agreement with the Asahi Beer, Asahi Breweries to increase its market, and now is distributed much more widely in Japan, but it hasn't captured the attention of the international market except in Oklahoma.
オクラホマ
Oklahoma. So, but I know people are drinking because my friends and I will talk about they want to have Orion beer. They watch quite a bit on Facebook, lots of things. Orion Breweries maintains its independence in Okinawa and is now distributed outside of Okinawa through the Asahi Company, and Orion beer appears to have a greater future. That's why I said I believe the market is now more than 1% at the beginning. I think it was up to 13%, but I can't find any additional facts. Orion Company as well is good for the environment. It's friendly and recycles everything. They emphasize recycling all its waste, producing zero elimination.
いいね、これね。
知らなかったですね。
ね
じゃあ、
いいね
結局ゴミを出さない運動ってことでしょ。
ゴミゼロ運動だよね、
Yeah, the bottles recycled, the plastic crates are recycled, melted out, and started all over. And so they're helping the Okinawa as well as making business. There are many different collection agents, locations on Okinawa.
They are operating also the mega power plant.
Yes, I didn't know.
Solar
that.
plant.
Oh, solar plant. Ah,
新聞だったよ、この間。あれ光、
光で
太陽。
太陽光発
そう
電
そうそうそう。あれをして太陽の熱でね、また工場を動かす。
工場を動かす。あら
なぜかというとゼロエミッションでしょ。電力もあんまり使わないと。ビールのね、大麦、ホップを作るために大量の熱使うでしょ。でそれはやはりこういうなんていうのかな、
環境
太陽エネル
に
ギーであるとね、載ってましたね、この新聞ね。
so I learned something new again. Not only that, but they recycle the hops, the yeast, and the malts and the grains. Question: What's the hops?
ホップはホップ
Not hip hop.
ホップステップジャンプ
Jump rope hop. The bunny rabbit hop.
But that's good question. What is a hop?
Hops is actually a female flower that's actually ground down, and it has a bitter and tangy taste that he used to make they mix with the yeast and the other malts to make the brew. Okay, so they actually grow the hops and then make the beer.
なんかホップでね、なんかこの
メバナっていうメスの
メバナってね
Yeah.
なんか写真あった
It's like a
写
little
真
flower.
残しとけばよかったね。写真見たんだけど、
I should have posted the picture of that hops, but didn't.
松ぼっくりみたい
みたい
な
な、なんかね、
感じだよね
こんな
青い
こんな
ね
感じに、こんな感じって言ってもわかんないね。リスナーの人ね。
It's all part of the fermentation and pasteurization, which is which is unique in some of the beers. Some people do not pasteurize their beer, and we'll talk more about that with the Budweiser beer. And you can take a tour of the Nago beer factory. They have an online website,
はい
www.orionbeer.co.jp. They don't have an avid staff of American English-speaking persons, but you can make arrangements to go, and they'll put you in a group of one designated driver and take you around to the plants. It's very interesting.
向こうに行けばね、いろいろ作り方と工程を教えてくれますね。工場に行けばね。
Okay. Now, are we ready for the King of Beers? And are any questions before we go to Budweiser? No? All right.
そうだね。
Budweiser, the king of beers. Distinctive red, white, and blue patriotic beer bottle signifies the spirit of America. The flag with an eagle is known the world over and likewise used in many special events. So its can has the red, white, and blue and an eagle somewhere on this product. Adolphus Busch left Germany for the United States in 1857.
So this person is the
German.
German,
Yes.
and he moved to States.
Yes, he came to America.
He's the father of the Budweiser.
He is the father of Budweiser. Yes, he is part of it because it became because he married a young lady. That's name was Anheuser.
あ
Anheuser Busch.
じゃあアンハイザ
Lily Anheuser.
やっぱり女性があれだね。
ーキー
やっぱり
ですね。
ビールですね。やっぱり
Lily of the Valley. Okay, so he might have been a macho man, and here comes Lily, the nice petite little lady who has the ingredients via her father, who made beer. Okay, so he joined. So they grew up they resided in St. Louis, Missouri, where he met Lily and her father, which owned the brewery. And in 1864, 7 years later, they partnered and became the Anheuser-Busch Company.
じゃあこのリリーさんと出会って、もうアドルフ・ブッシュさん、アドルフ・ブッシュさん、ミスター・ブッシュちょっと難しいから
Mr. Bush
ミスター
caught Lily Anheuser, proposed, yes, married, yes,
結
joined
婚して、そ
joined
の
again, yes.
リリーさんのファーダー、
Mhm.
リリーズ・ファーダー、
Yeah, Eberhard Anheuser.
エバハード・アンハイザーさんでカンパニーを作ったわけ
They
ね。
became a company. Anheuser had his own company. Bush did not have a company. He came in with the mind of making beer. Okay. So Bush traveled extensively in Europe to observe and study the latest brewing techniques. In the 1870s, Anheuser-Busch became the first American brewery to implement pasteurization, similar to what they do for milk on the farms. Pasteurization is purifying the product and making sure that you get a clear liquid formula to drink, which greatly improved the shelf life and transportability of its beers. So sometimes you'd be traveling across the states. It may take months to get to some place, so it had to be cool. Otherwise, it would spoil, just like food would.
I have to maintain.
Hard to maintain, yes. That's why it was stored in barrels. Just like wine. Wine is stored in barrels. Aramori is stored in barrels.
この樽にこう、腐れないようにずっと貯蔵をする人。So they needed to do it.
Yes. What the purpose was to expand their business. So they're looking for potential clients across the Americas to take their beer and sell. Networking, as we call it nowadays.
やっぱアメリカは広いからこのビールがちゃんと長く持つように樽に入れてこう移動していたんですね。
だからアメリカのものって結構みんな樽とかが
あ、そうなんだね。
画像とかね、よく結構樽。
Yeah, there's some of the products.
はい、そうだ、写真見せるの忘れてた。ごめんなさい。
Very colorful beers.
そうだね。
Okay. In the mid-1800s, most Americans preferred the robust dark ales from the European theater. Bush encountered lighter lager beers during his travels and began brewing a light Bohemian lager, Anheuser-Busch Brewery. And he introduced the name of Budweiser in 1876. Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch had 2 decades of growth before the onset of Prohibition. Prohibition was
No,
They cannot sell
they
it.
You can't drink.
You cannot drink.
Oh.
No.
Not selling. もう、
アメリカ
飲むこと
You
もない
cannot sell and drink.
は
No, you lost business. Government says no because of the war. We got to stop
戦争で
Yeah, part of the war. In 1920, Anheuser-Busch had to retool their line of products to survive during the year of Prohibition. This included, of course, this is bootleg. You heard the bootleg where you're sneaking across the borders, just across the
ブッドレ
states,
ガーとかね
or up in the mountains. They're making their
So
whiskey.
secretly
Yes, secretly. Yes.
アルカポン
Al Capone. Yes.
何ですかなんか
アルカポーネ
Some of Al Capone, and of course Elliot Ness of the FBI. Yeah.
マフィアはこの時期とても儲けたんだって。
もうこの闇っていうんですか闇って
そ
いううんですか
ですそうです、だからアメリカのね、マブスターのボスのアルカポネ、
アル
Al
カポ
Capone, James Dillinger, and all those good guys.
そうごめんなさ
Go
い
ahead. Go ahead.
So this is the prohibition is from 1920
1930年ぐらいですね。
Actually, World War One. Actually, between the
ってことは for 13 years?
Yes.
13年ぐらいの
And
間
also I
もう
heard
禁
that
止
they
で
sold ice cream instead of selling this kind of alcohol.
It's all what?
They sold ice cream.
Oh yes. Yes.
なんかアイスク
リ
リームをこの
Yeah.
禁酒法されてる間にこの要はお酒を売る代わりにアイスクリームを売ったっていう話。
They had to.
いい考えればいい。
Yeah. Ice cream spiked with beer or alcohol. Hey kid, have an ice cream cone. Mommy, I feel funny.
お酒好きだったらあれだね、ちょっと物足りないよね。
かもしれないね。
先ご飯飲みぶさっさーって思ってながらできないと。
アイスがビールの味だったらびっくりだけどね。
So they made a pseudo beer that was kind of a low grade alcoholic beer, less than 5%. When Prohibition ended in 1933, Anheuser-Busch began brewing Budweiser again. The consumer had changed due to the popularity of sweeter homemade bootleg brews. So they were testing during this period of Prohibition. The company dared the consumers to drink Budweiser for 5 days, and if on the 6th day they preferred the taste for other beers, they would go back to making the lager type beers, the heavy, thick beers. Growth was limited by economic conditions of the Great Depression, but thanks to the introduction of the metal can, which is prominent today versus the bottles,
この缶が出てきたのが1936
1936
1936年に
で、これデプレッションっていうかあれさ、ほら大恐慌時代さ、
時代
大恐慌時代にねビールが売るってすごいことだよね。大恐慌だもんね。
なのに売れたっていう
ビールだけは飲んでくれみたいなね。
ビール飲まんとやってられないって感じ。
yeah, you had to kind of think. See, you were doing bottled beers. The beer was bottled before, so you got to pasteurize it, you got to sanitize it. Whereas in beer can you can recycle, and
あ
use
ー
it
このや
again.
っぱ瓶とかだとやっぱりこの殺菌とかちゃんとやらないといけないけど、もうそのまま缶だとそのままね捨てれるからね。
そうだね。
まあ時代に合ったようなね、樽の作り方とか飲み方っていうのがあったんだね。
そうだね。
Okay.
あ、大丈夫ですよ。はい、
はい
どうぞ。はい。
During World War II, the company had to again reevaluate its processes and had to shut down some of its West Coast operations, and to give the government more of of its products, the metal, save the metal to make the guns, the tanks, and stuff like that. So they had to stop their production in the
こ
West
の
Coast.
戦争でやっぱりこのなんてメタルだからこの鉄とかが必要になるから一旦so they had to stop.
Yeah, there was restriction on consumption and usage of steel and metals and stuff like the precious metals.
戦争はビールまで犠牲にするんだね。
So after the war, Anheuser-Busch began again in a rapid growth, and then later they became involved in a trademark dispute with the European company, Budweiser Boulevard Brewery,
ブーバー。
which they named their beer Budweiser, not Budweiser, Budweiser. Beer had been brewed in Budweiser since it was founded by King Ottokar, the second of Bohemia, in 1245. So remembering that Anheuser-Busch came into the States in 1800s. The beer was actually won all in 1245, so there's quite a few years just difference of how long the beer had been in existence.
このトレードマークライツっていうのは商標権の登録でしょ。
ね、
やっぱりこういうね。
バドワイザーという名前の、
うん
これが討論してなった
そうね、
って
もともと
ことですか？
チェコでしょ。
チェコの南部
チェコも当時のチェコで、まあ、
ブドウバイ
チェコスロバキアって言われた時代があったよね、あそこで作ってたわけなんだけど、なんでっていうことよね、チェコ側がアメリカに対して商標登録権っていうのを放棄しなさいって言ったんだよね、
そうですね、
名前があれなんですよね。この似てたからでしょ、音が発音が。
どんなバード
ブジョヴィッツェっていうのが、
ブジョヴィッツェみたいな
そうそうそう、それがトルコ、トルコじゃない、どこだっけ、チェコのこの銘柄だったんだけど、ドイツ語ではブドワイゼル。
ブドワイゼル
ブドワイゼルがバドワイゼル
だからこの銘柄、チェコで有名なこのビールのこの、ブジョビッツェとこのバドワイザーのこのスペルが似てて、音が似てたからっていう話が
Same
あったん
sound,
ですよ。
same taste? Not same
No,
taste.
same, because the European beer was much thicker, the lager.
味が濃いんだね。ヨーロピアンビア
Different,
ね。
different styles, but more thicker. Okay.
で名前が似てるってことね。
In 1876, Bush got together with Carl Conrad, who was a liquor importer, and they developed the Bohemian style lager, which is a thinner beer, and started producing it across the regions.
ラガービールか。
The Czech beer maker, Budweiser Bouvard, called their beer the beer of kings. And Anheuser-Busch, Adolphus Busch said, we're going to change ours to the king of beers. So just to switch of the titles made it a more distinction, even though the Budweiser versus the Budweiss was seems to be a trademark impasse there.
でアメリカのスローガンは The King of Beer だけど、ヨーロッパの国のスローガンは The Beer of Kings なんだよね。でそれ反対にしただけだよね、アメリカはね。反対にしただけ。何も変わらないし。
Well,
どう変わるんですかね？
Well, remember the
King of
king,
beer?
yeah, the king
What's the
Ottokar the second
あれじゃない？
of Bohemia, 1245. He's drinking the beer, Budweiss. So they said we have to change this. You can't infringe upon our name.
あれじゃない？王様が飲んだビールっていうこの高貴なものみたいなイメージと、逆にこのビールの中のビールみたいな王様って意味じゃない？
そう取れるよね。
そうだね。
And in 2008, in 2008, the beer factory decided to add a little flavor to their advertising program. They came up with the Budweiser Clydesdale horses, and it actually came from Scotland. That's where the name comes from. It's actually a workhorse.
There is a picture.
But yeah, the horse.
馬さんのがあるでしょ。
Yes. The one with the red one is what they're pulled with this. Actually, the trailer or the coach is where the beer is stored.
それでかこの後ろにビールを乗せて、they were carrying the beer at in
Yeah,
a
it may look like a stagecoach,
彼が乗ってたのかな？
but it's not a stagecoach. It's actually a beer container.
ビールコンテイナー。
Beer container.
これ自身がもう今ユーストリームご覧になってる皆さんは分かると思うんですが、写真を見せてます。
なんか
この
馬の馬車のこの
One's the reins controller and the other one's the shotgun.
でもこれ見たことありますよね。このバドワイザーのなんかラッピングとかラッピング
ラッピングでカバーっていうかね。
そういえばホースがいましたよね。あれはそれを樽っていうかこのね、ビールを運んでる馬さんだったんですね。そう。
So in 1933, they started using the horses, and after Prohibition, August Bush Jr. presented the hitch as a gift to his father. Actually, they got his father out telling him that he was going to get a new car, but what his son brought him was a trailer hitched with 6 horses. Later on, they carried the first case of post-prohibition beer from the St. Louis brewery to a special journey down the St. Louis Street to Pazzolossi Street. And then advertising got into the thick of things, and they said, well, let's send this by rail to New York City to give 2 cases to the New Jersey network mayor, the governor, who actually helped abolish prohibition.
Okay, so
Wow, time over? Oh, no.
no, I want you to more symbolize it.
Okay. Well, once prohibition finished, they promoted it. They took it down to the main factory to sell it in town. And then the advertising guru said, let's give 2 cases of beer to the governor who helped relinquish or abolish the prohibition law. So he put it on a rail train and sent it to New York.
Okay, time's up now. ごめんなさい。
Okay, well,
まあこの禁止令が終わった後に、このニューヨークの方まで運ぶということで、then they used the horses.
Then they used the horses.
それで馬さんのあれにね。
then they sent the horses to the president,
で
FDR.
大統領の方にビールを運んだっていう話ね。
Yes.
OK、はい、すいませんでした。もうごめんなさい、10秒しかない。また来週ですね、皆さん元気にお会いしましょうね。またはい、See you next week で
Yeah,
頑張り
don't
ましょう。
drive if you're drinking.
はい、
Bye bye.
See ya!
Cheers!
Cheers, goodbye. Beer etiquette.